Tonight, there's an outbreak of measles. This is the best chance we have of this show going viral. And then, cats. Insert a funny cat joke here. And later, contempt of Congress. People being arrested for contempt. But we've all had contempt for Congress for a long time now. There's no stopping us now because we're live.
I'm John Thompson.
I'm John A. Vink.
I'm Jennifer Sim.
I'm AJ Minnick.
I'm Keith Stattenfield.
I'm Jim too. And those stories tonight on John Wants Answers.
John wants answers. Give John answers. John wants answers. Give John answers now.
Check your calendar. If it says May 9th, 2019, then we're live.
We're live.
We're live.
Yeah.
Because it's May 9th. Well, for us now.
Yeah.
At home.
It's always going to be May 9th for us.
Not always. Later tonight, it'll be May 10th for us.
We won't be here.
I know.
Here.
You said always.
It'll always be May 9th for us here.
Well, next time we're here, it'll be June something.
Let's not make any promises.
My guest tonight is Keith Stattenfield. That's all I got for you.
Okay.
How should I describe you? Why are you my guest tonight?
You don't have many friends.
True. True information. Okay. We're taking your tweets. You can tweet us during the show tonight at John Wants Answer.
John Wants Answer.
We will read them.
Yeah.
We've already gotten some tweets already. So
okay.
It's going to be an action-packed episode tonight.
Okay.
If you don't like Twitter, go to johnwantsanswers.com.
Yeah.
And you can then go to the contact link.
Yeah. That sends an email.
A message there.
That sends an email, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Electronic mail.
Yeah.
But as far as you know, it's just a form on a web page. It comes to me as an email.
Okay. Couldn't you get it to post to Twitter?
Well, people may not want their whole message put on Twitter.
I think they're giving up rights to that message when they type it into that web form.
People have an expectation of privacy.
Okay, that's what I heard.
All right. So we're going to get right into it. Our first topic, measles. All right, this is what I have learned. From January 1st to May 3rd, 2019.
2019.
This year.
Yeah.
764 individual cases of measles have been confirmed in 23 states.
Sounds right.
This is the greatest number of cases reported in the U.S. since 1994.
Wow.
And
we're
since
number one.
Measles were declared eliminated in 2000.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are these measles?
Measles is a viral disease.
Uh-huh.
And when you get it, you get all those little red pock marks.
Okay.
That are tiny infections. And generally, eventually, yeah, often.
Okay.
I have no direct experience with measles and itchiness.
Okay.
I had chicken pox. I'm told they're similar.
Right.
Those were itchy. So sure, they're itchy, and you scratch them, and you can get, they can leave pock marks all over your skin that look bad for the rest of your life.
Because these are worse. Measles are worse than chickenpox, right?
Measles is a worse disease than chickenpox. It's more contagious than chickenpox, and in more cases, some of the rare symptoms for measles happen, and they are worse than the rare symptoms for chickenpox.
So, I've heard, what percentage of people die from measles?
Like a small percentage.
But non-zero,
not zero,
one or two
under
people.
1%, but
Right. 0.5%.
it's bad if that's you.
If you're that percent.
Yeah.
So I think one or two in 1,000. Or I've heard. Something like that, right? Which at this rate, if we have 764, we can expect a person to die from this in this current outbreak.
Let's not take any. I want to take any bets here.
Oh, no. That should be a gambling thing in Vegas.
Good luck.
Okay.
I don't think you're allowed to gamble on how many people are going to die. I'm pretty sure you can't gamble on what particular people are going to die. I think that's a crime.
Because you might want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of people are most vulnerable to measles?
Well, people that aren't vaccinated are more vulnerable than people that are vaccinated. Kids, because their immune systems generally aren't as well developed.
Right.
The elderly, because their immune systems are old and tired.
It seems
There
like
are
for most
people
instances-
with compromised immune systems
Yeah.
because they're on drugs, or there's some
Sounds
people
like
that
all
just
diseases. These people are always the first to get it
often, yeah.
and get hurt from it.
I don't know what measles in particular. I mean, there's some diseases that like mumps is particularly bad for college-age kids, like late high school to early 20s.
Mumps. What is mumps?
Mumps is like when your glands swell up a lot and you have trouble breathing, and it's bad.
Okay. Now, someone like me, do you think if I got measles, I would recover pretty quickly and easily?
7 to 10 days,
Yeah.
99 times out of 100.
Okay. So I feel pretty safe about that. Now, last thing,
Are you vaccinated?
I believe I am. So I don't specifically know for sure I'm vaccinated for measles.
Yeah, you
but-
should. You should go. Okay.
Well, no, as a kid growing up in Canada, we'd have these days where we all get stuck with needles,
Yeah.
or they take a sugar cube and put a thing on it and they give it to us,
Yeah.
and that's what I was getting vaccinated. And I
Yeah.
just took part in all that.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention.
Like the sugar cube thing was polio.
Oh, yeah?
Were you really young, or were you like high school age?
I got nothing in high school. I would have
Okay.
been under 10 years old.
Because if someone gave you a sugar cube in high school with stuff on it, that's LSD. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I remember being
But
behind.
like if you're 5 and they give you a sugar cube and they put something on it, that's polio.
Okay, so when I was in junior high, and I
Yeah.
was behind the bleachers with my friends,
Yeah.
they said, "Hey, John, want to get vaccinated?"
Yeah.
They were actually
they were-
giving me LSD.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Because an after effect of that
Is
that immunization.
John's entire life.
was I saw colors I'd never seen before,
Yeah. Yeah.
and everything sounded like classical music.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But now measles, once you get it, you only get it once, right?
In general, you only get measles once. I mean, measles, when you get it, you're contagious before you have symptoms,
Okay.
and you're contagious for like 2 or 3 days before you have symptoms. So measles is particularly bad because you can be contagious for a while, and measles as a disease is very easily transmitted. Like if someone has measles in a room and they're coughing and they're throwing stuff out, like for the next 4 hours, other people in that room can easily catch measles.
Funny story.
Yeah, I'll be the
Funny
judge. I'll be the
quotes.
judge of that.
We got we didn't get an email. They put a poster in our cafeteria in our building
Yeah.
at work and said, some guy was here with measles like
Yeah.
10 days ago.
Yeah.
For these 2 hours. So if you were here within 2 hours of those 2 hours, you might have it.
Yeah,
And then, yeah.
yeah, that's. Whereas
So-
the common cold is considerably less transmittable.
And less dangerous.
In the same. Well, and then once you get measles, in theory, your immune system develops antibodies to it, and those antibodies stick around for a while. But if you have measles as a child, very late in life, that immunity may have worn down to the point that you get measles again.
So if I'm nearing 50, would it be worn down yet, or am I still?
You should go to your doctor, and you should say to your doctor, hey, can you test if I still have antibodies to measles? And they'll draw some blood, and they'll check if your immune system is still effective at producing antibodies. And if it's not, they'll give you the measles vaccine.
Again.
Or you can just go get a measles booster. I mean, I think there are always 2 boosters for measles. You get one as a kid, and you get one like when you're high school, college age.
Oh, I don't think I didn't get that one.
Measles is when I went to college, I had to produce immunization records that showed I had gotten a bunch of immunizations.
Really? They didn't do that in Canada.
Well, it's colder up there. They're more willing to accept, a certain fraction of people just toppling over.
Yeah. Now, getting a measles shot is pretty simple, right? They just go to the doctor, they go,
Yeah,
and that's it, right?
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Then your arm may or may not hurt for a day or 2.
Okay.
Like I got a typhoid shot a couple months ago.
Uh-huh.
Second,
You trying to get typhoid?
no, if you travel internationally.
Oh, okay. Because people internationally have typhoid.
Some people do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do to prevent getting measles?
Yeah, get a vaccination.
Oh. just living healthy and eating my vitamins won't help me?
Will help you, but it's better to get a vaccination. I mean, it's 10 minutes, and then it's like 100%.
Close to 100%.
Well, let's call it 100%.
Okay. Now, we were told in this opening paragraph I read that they eradicated measles in 2000.
In the U.S.
Then how come we have it again?
We didn't eradicate it worldwide.
Well, why didn't we do that?
They're working on it. I mean, I think we've only eradicated one disease worldwide, ever.
What's that?
Smallpox.
Oh, okay.
Polio was eradicated in the U.S. I think they still call it eradicated in the U.S. There are always a very small number of polio cases here. And generally, they come from someone who's traveled from elsewhere where they have not eradicated polio.
I would have gotten shots for polio, right?
Almost certainly.
Okay.
You have a thing in your arm? A little round polio scar?
No, I don't.
No.
No. Do you have one?
Yeah.
I thought only immigrants
But you
had
said
that.
you got the sugar cube thing.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, I got stuff. I don't know what the stuff I got was.
You should
I know
see a doctor,
my
man.
mother had a scar.
Yeah.
And she says because she immigrated. So I think immigrants get the scars.
No, that was just the vaccination they gave you.
But if you were
produced this
here-
little blister.
I got one of those, kind of.
Yeah.
So when I went to get a green card in this
Okay.
fine country of yours,
Yeah. We
sent
probably
me-
checked you then too.
they sent me to a doctor.
Yeah.
The doctor stabbed me, like, stuck
Yeah.
something in me, and said, if something happens, let me know.
Okay.
And I
nothing.
said, like, what do you mean if something happens? And she was like, you don't know if something happens.
Okay.
And if you don't know if something happens, nothing happened.
Okay.
Then nothing happened. So
Okay.
I was allowed to stay in the country.
That's
Now, I don't know if that was shots or just testing to see if I had shots.
well. If they, one of us should have gone to medical school to
To have this conversation.
answer that question in an appropriate way.
Now, if we've all been vaccinated, like if they've eliminated like polio, we're
Yeah.
all kind of vaccinated for it, then why do we need to keep vaccinating ourselves for it? Like, isn't it like eradicated, gone?
Polio is not worldwide eradicated, gone.
Oh,
So we keep vaccinating for it.
okay.
Smallpox, they think is gone. I don't know if they still give smallpox vaccines to little kids anymore. But in theory, like the only smallpox vaccine in the world is in a freezer in Atlanta, and the Russians probably have it in a freezer.
Wait, the only vaccine or the only?
The only existing virus.
Okay, virus. Okay.
And they have, like with smallpox, they've debated, should we destroy all of our existing samples of the smallpox vaccine?
In case it got out.
Well, to make it to where it couldn't get out.
Yeah.
The problem is they have sequenced it, so someone could assemble the smallpox vaccine. What are you going to do?
So how do vaccines work?
They generally trigger your, they trigger your body's immune system to create antibodies. And the thing they trigger it with looks enough like the virus, that when your body's antibodies see the virus, it'll trigger them. But the things they give you are not the virus. So they can't cause the disease.
Okay.
It used to be a long time ago, some of the immunizations they gave you were weakened versions of the actual viruses. In theory, they were weakened enough that you were very unlikely to actually get the disease, but they were the virus. But they've since figured out how to, make just
fake ones.
proteins that look like
Look enough.
what the viruses look like, that your body makes antibodies to it.
Now, how long does it take me for the vaccine to be activated once I get the shot?
I think it's a couple days to a couple weeks.
Oh, so it's pretty quick.
Yeah, I doubt it's much. There may be a little bit of dependency, but I suspect it's pretty quick because the thing they inject you with isn't going to float around in your bloodstream for that long. Your body's going to go, this should not be here, and they are going to produce antibodies to it, and they're going to attach onto it, and then it's going to get filtered out of your blood.
What kind of people should not get a vaccination?
Well, there are people with compromised immune systems that maybe shouldn't get vaccinations because their immune system doesn't even have the ability to get it. There are small numbers of people that have actual medical reasons they can't get immunizations. Like when I was young, some of the vaccines were grown in chicken eggs.
Okay.
And there were people that were allergic to the proteins in chicken eggs, and they couldn't get those vaccines.
Oh.
Because not the actual vaccine they were giving you, but the the thing they'd grown it in, those proteins were also present, and they would trigger an allergy response that could be terrible.
There's one of the objections, like you cannot get a vaccination for religious exemption.
There are some people who, for religious reasons, don't think they should get vaccinations.
What kind of religions don't like vaccines?
I don't think Christian scientists get vaccinations.
That's weird because it's science. You'd think they'd be on top of that.
I concur.
Okay.
There are now some Orthodox Judaic churches, congregations, that don't think you should get vaccinations.
Oh.
There are some other Christian churches that don't think you should get vaccinations.
My Christian church, when I was a Christian,
Yeah,
was
most of them are
A-okay
fine.
on that. Yeah. So it's a minority.
A very small minority.
Okay.
It should be a minority of 0, in my opinion, but
But there's an anti-vaxxer movement now
Yeah.
beyond just the religious stuff.
yeah, there are also
say-
people that
It's dangerous.
there was a doctor that in Britain, in
Yeah,
England,
right.
that famously did a study where he said, vaccinations are causing autism, and here's my data to show this. And he claimed, I think it was the mercury and the thimerosal that was used to preserve the vaccines generally. And it turns out he just faked his stuff.
Did he fake it, or it was just bad research?
I believe it turns out he just faked a lot of stuff.
Oh.
Because he just kept coming out with more and more studies.
That
It's
person is
possible
not-
his first study was incorrect. I mean, any study can have an error, and you can draw a conclusion that's not, which is why you do studies and make them bigger.
I've heard that person is not a doctor anymore.
He's not licensed to practice medicine
Right.
anymore, whether he's
The UK
not
government said,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't do this
he-
no more. You messed up.
Correct.
But people are still believing in
Yes,
his
a lot of
research.
people think that he is being, his science is correct and is being suppressed by the whatevers.
Is it big pharma who's, according to these anti-vaxxers, is it big pharma trying to put this
Or
on us?
big government, or
Are vaccines a lot of money, or are they pretty expensive?
well, originally most vaccines were pretty cheap. Like the polio vaccine, I think the patent was famously was donated to the public so that it wouldn't cost money.
Right.
And for a long time, most vaccine research is done by governments, and they then license the rights to make the vaccines to companies, and they're supposed to do it cheaply because in theory you're supposed to give it to everyone. There are some vaccines that are pretty pricey. I mean, there's a vaccine for HPV vaccine, which is like 20 years old at this point, which prevents a whole cluster of cervical cancers and probably oral cancers. Came out. It's
That's
not
cool.
cheap. It's like a couple $100, and you need like 2 or 3 doses. Early on, they pushed to give it to teenage girls because that was the first thing they studied, because cervical cancer is terrible.
Right.
The prognosis, if you get cervical cancer, is not good.
Right.
And they eventually figured out that many cervical cancers are caused by this virus. And so they developed an antibody to it. In theory, if you get vaccinated, you are much less likely to get cervical cancer 30 years later and die.
Sounds good.
And then 10 or 15 years later, they figured out, well, a lot of throat cancers, they think, are similarly caused by the same virus. So now they recommend both boys and girls get the HPV vaccine. They say it's pointless to get after you're about 30 years old because you've almost certainly been exposed to it by then.
No.
Doesn't help us.
Now in Canada, we didn't pay for vaccinations. We just showed up at school one day and they gave it all to, all to us.
Yeah.
Now in the U.S.,
Yeah, you have national health care there.
you don't have the national health care.
No.
So did you have to go to a doctor and pay money to get your vaccinations?
I don't know. I certainly remember getting some vaccinations at school, and I assume those were paid for by the government. I mean, I know a lot of the early vaccination drives were government sponsored, and I'm sure they were paid for by the government. There may have been nonprofits that raised money to do it. I mean, even today, a lot of, nonprofits raise money in order to vaccinate people famously go to Africa and make sure everyone has measles vaccines and smallpox vaccines and polio vaccines.
Right. Every year they come out with a flu shot.
Yes.
Flu vaccine. Now,
Correct.
I never take that.
Yeah, you should get it.
I should get it?
Yeah, I get it every year.
Like, the flu is no big deal, really. It's like a fever, you feel a little achy for a while, you get to spend like a week watching TV at home. I think it's a great deal.
I occasionally have gotten the flu and been miserable.
Yeah? How miserable?
Like pretty miserable.
Oh, maybe I've never.
Like one year when I got the flu, I just remember it was Super Bowl Sunday and I was just laying on my bed with my sinuses just in agony
Oh.
for hours and hours and hours and hours. And
I get a cold maybe every year, but I probably don't get a flu.
now, well, you're getting older.
I am getting older.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should get the flu vaccine.
Did
Your work probably does it for free.
Probably.
Yeah, like my work does.
The bubonic plague, it's back.
Well, it never really left.
Never really left. I remember like it was the 1500s,
Yeah,
or like
Black Death.
50 million people got it and died.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just vanished
Yeah.
all of a sudden. Is that because everyone got it and then you only can get it once?
Well, like
before
the
you're dead?
cold, it mutates over time.
Okay.
And there are probably particular conditions where it is more virulent. And Black Plague was spread by rats,
Right.
and it also killed the rats. And so, the year after that, there were a lot fewer rats around to spread the flu. Maybe it didn't have,
Is there a
enough
vaccine
rats
for
to-
the bubonic plague?
I don't know. There probably is, but
Okay. But
I mean,
it's
the
pretty
plague.
rare, right?
The plague is there's a whole bunch of plagues.
Oh. There's been a PSA, I don't know if you've been seeing this on TV, since 2012.
Yeah.
It's been running. A PSA on television for the Skittles box.
Yeah.
So apparently if you are a kid behind the bleachers
Yes.
and you touch another person, immediately they also get Skittles on their face.
I've heard that.
Is there?
I've medical research sadly lacking
So have you been
in Skittles pox.
eating a lot of Skittles to do some research?
I haven't. No.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
I'm like an M&M's kind of guy.
Okay.
And M&M's kind of box.
Peanuts
That'd be kind
or-
of good to have.
Just chocolate.
Oh, it's chocolate. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't like peanuts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see a video of a cat.
The indoor cat. The indoor cat can be found in suburban homes throughout the world. The indoor cat feeds on a diet of cat food and water. Indoor cats sleep between 22 and 26 hours per day. The indoor cat's nemesis is the robotic vacuum cleaner. Indoor cats will groom each other affectionately and then increasingly aggressively until they decide they would rather be napping. Indoor cats lose their minds after consuming small amounts of catnip. For more information about the indoor cat, why not visit JohnWantsAnswers.com. LSD.com.
And we're back. And we have tweets. I have many tweets to tell you about.
I'm pretty sure I got some of that LSD sugar. I swear that was a thing about indoor cats.
It's our video, our wildlife video of the month.
Okay.
We have tweets I'm going to read to you.
Okay.
What happened to the courtroom drama that used to air in this time slot?
Canceled. It was canceled.
Canceled.
Yeah. Turns out people don't want to watch courtroom dramas.
Apparently, this show is better. That's what the tweet says.
I agree.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That was from Scott Canaster. From Loretta Beavers, we have a tweet. Immunization techniques might have varied between the U.S. and Canada, which might be why John doesn't have the star. So that means the scar?
The scar probably.
Scar.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a star
The
here.
smallpox scar.
Camera 1 should be tilted up a bit. Keith does not have enough headroom. So it's from Loretta.
Yeah.
She's normally our director, so she's like,
She's directing from afar.
she's armchair directing this time. Oh, and John doesn't have enough nose room. Camera 3 should pan.
Wow.
Okay.
This is
Um,
this is amazing.
my
If it
sister-in-law
works.
thinks John can make good money with his background photos. Really? Well, here I am, in
Yeah.
we're in a hospital,
Yeah.
treated for our illness.
Yeah. I always want to turn around and change that one television that's in the test pattern to a different channel.
It's got our episode number on it.
Yeah, I know.
So
That's
if you
why I
change
don't.
channel, it'd be something else.
I know. But it just bugs me.
And if I wasn't miserable, I didn't have the flu.
There
So-
you go. That's what I said.
Yes, that's advice from Scott. Okay, we are running out of time, but I still have questions about Congress.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah, ask quick.
Contempt of Congress.
Contempt of Congress.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're on it tonight. So, Congress has been issuing a bunch of subpoenas.
Yeah,
to
yeah, a
people.
couple. Yeah.
And
yeah.
people are ignoring the subpoenas.
So far.
So, the Judiciary Committee voted 24-16 to hold William Barr in contempt.
Yes, they just did.
So, is it Judiciary Committee the committee that decides who's in contempt?
Well, no, Congress has a vote as a whole
Uh-huh.
to actually declare contempt. Right? The committee recommended it.
Okay.
Congress, sometime the next week, will probably take up a vote.
Could Congress take up a vote without this committee saying?
Yes.
They could have. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the repercussions of being in contempt of Congress?
Oh, that's a great question for which 34 seconds is not enough time to answer.
I know there's a jail in
It's
Congress.
particularly tricky with William Barr because, in general, for most contempt charges, Congress forwards a recommendation to the Department of Justice, which then prosecutes. But William Barr is in charge of the Department of Justice.
He may choose not
he
to
would have to
prosecute
recuse himself, and everyone under him would have to recuse themselves.
Would Mueller have to come back in and prosecute him?
Well, no, Mueller was never.
Oh,
Yeah, he was.
that would have been great
Yeah.
if that was the case.
Okay.
I'm feeling a little itchy on my face.
Yeah. You got this pox.
Uh-oh. Didn't Congress commission the Mueller report?
No, the Justice Department did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. They have a jail in the
They
in
do.
Congress.
There's a jail in Congress.
Has anyone ever been inside it?
Yes.
Who?
I don't know.
Oh.
Nobody recently.
So Steve Mnuchin was subpoenaed for
Correct. Yeah. Well,
tax
yeah.
records, and
Yeah.
he declined. Is he going to
He
be
said, no, I'm not
contempt of
gonna.
Congress?
Probably.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. Something to look forward to.
Don McGahn was the attorney for the White House.
Correct.
He got subpoenaed.
Yeah.
Is he going to go to contempt jail?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, I think we're out of time.
Yeah, we are.
So, high five. Holy crap, Keith. What's that?